Good to go.
Thank you.
That's we're in good shape. I know we don't have a mic stand today, so if anybody's speaking, we'd ask. It's karaoke night. And actually speak into it. But I'll call to order this meeting. This May 4th. May the 4th be with you.
There you go.
Meeting of the Lawrence County Board of Commissioners to order. Would all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And all please remain standing just for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here. I will note that we have a quorum. We are being live streamed right now. It's being sent out to our YouTube channel for public consumption. As always, we appreciate our 3 viewers out there today. And our 3 viewers here in person as well. It's certainly good to have.
3 for 3, right?
It's certainly good to start having people come back into these into these meetings. It's good to see friendly faces in the audience.
Definitely.
But I'll also note that if any member of the public is watching via YouTube and wishes to submit public comment, they might be uncomfortable with coming into the courthouse or otherwise uneasy about leaving their homes, that they can submit public comment should they wish to provide it to mboyd@lawrencecountypa.gov. That's mboyd@lawrencecountypa.gov. Make sure you include the subject line public comment and it will be entered into the record as such. That being said, row officer reports and comments. Looking around the room, we have no row officers or row officer designees with us today. Before we start public comment, I want to note that we have some friends with us today from the North Country Trail. I believe they're here to present Commissioner Vogler with an award, and so to that end, I will certainly turn it over to our friend from North Country Trail for the presentation.
Chairman, will you allow them perhaps, to, if they wish, to remove their masks?
Absolutely.
If they wish. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm getting my award put together here, so.
David, you want to stand?
You folks, would you care to come up here?
Yes. Absolutely,
And
yes.
that way the camera will get it?
Yes.
Oh, you're fine. You sure? Chairman, no, you're fine. You're fine.
So will I disturb anything if I get up and take a picture?
No.
Okay.
I mean, not unless, you happen to hit a light pole on the way over.
Yeah, so we are here, I don't need the mic, good.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. Representing the Wampum chapter of the North Country Trail Association. For the public that's not aware, the North Country Trail is almost a 5,000 mile long national scenic trail that passes from Vermont to North Dakota and happens to intersect through Lawrence and Beaver County. And our Wampum chapter is responsible for the building and maintaining of the trail in the 2 counties. And so for at least the last 10 years, Commissioner Vogler has been a supporter of the North Country Trail. Whenever we had something that we needed or wanted to do, Dan was always there to support us. I think we started out putting some informational placards on our section of the trail. Dan was there to help us. We wanted to build a new section of the trail on the lower edge of Lawrence County, which we just completed and Dan just hiked. And fortunately or unfortunately, there were 15 bridges that had to be built to complete that section of the trail. Very unusual to have that many bridges. Dan walked them all last week. So quite an expense to build those bridges. So the Lawrence County Commissioners, with Dan's support, helped us do that. Along with several other projects in Lawrence County. A couple of years ago, we had an issue with PennDOT, and Dan offered the services of the county engineers to help us work through that, again, associated with that section of the trail. So trails have become a more recognized asset for communities. Today, it's quite the fashion and important. Dan recognized the value of the trails 10, 15 years ago before it became a fashion. So for all that support, we would like to present to Commissioner Vogler this Vanguard Award that is from the North Country Trail Association for people in public service who have supported the trail. So we would like to present that to you.
It's beautiful. That's very nice. Thank you. I guess Debbie wants to take a picture. Sure.
Debbie, I'd like you to take a picture with my camera.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chairman, will you allow me to make a few brief remarks?
Absolutely, the floor is yours for as long as you can hold it.
Thank you so much.
There's the
Yes.
shutter.
They'll be brief.
Take your time.
You can smile a little if you want. That's better. Good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Well, I'm truly honored by your kind gesture. The trail, as noted, extends from Vermont to North Dakota, comes through Pennsylvania, and specifically through Lawrence County. And the municipalities that the trail travels through include, I guess I'm going to move east to west, Slippery Rock Township, Shenango Township, Wayne Township, the borough of Wampum, the borough of New Beaver, and because of this new trail extension, Little Beaver Township. Parts of the trail are actually, because perhaps in certain instances they can't secure private land, they have to go along roads. And the other nice thing is parts of the trail here in Lawrence County coincide with trails at McConnell's Mill State Park. But this new trail, this new section, which is in New Beaver Borough and Little Beaver Township, is just absolutely delightful. In fact, the one thing I found fascinating is modes of transportation. You can see three modes of transportation or experience them while you're on this section of trail. The trail is very, very close at one point to Pennsylvania Turnpike in New Beaver Borough. And then when you get into Little Beaver Township, the train line that ultimately goes through Enon Valley, you can hear the trains coming back and forth. So you got two different modes of transportation and then your own, the hiking mode. Now, to conclude, it would not be fair or appropriate for me just to accept this award singularly. Credit has to be given to my two former colleagues, Commissioner Steve Craig and the late Commissioner Robert Del Signor. As we were saying upstairs, a board of commissioners can't do anything unless two agree to it, or three. And thanks to both Steve and Bob, they were in accord with all of the things that we have done. So I'm going to accept this in honor of Steve Craig and in memory of Bob Del Signor. They were equally supportive. And my hope is that my two new colleagues, if and when we receive requests from this group, will look favorably upon those requests as it relates to Lawrence County and the trail. And as you pointed out, there's some economic benefit to that trail as well. It brings people into our county to hike and hopefully spend some of their money here. So with that, I thank this group very, very much. But again, just to reemphasize, former Commissioners Craig and Del Signor deserve equal credit for it. So thank you again.
Oh, you're welcome. I have just one more thing for you. Since he has taken to hiking, he's hiked our new section, and he's hiked various others because he's emailed me and said that he's really enjoyed the hikes. We'd like to present him with his own hiking stick. It has the Untitled Chapter medallion on here. And see, now you mentioned something a little earlier about having your new constituents
Yes.
in with you. Well, this can also serve another
Because
purpose.
you saw that gleam in my eye when you were handing that to him. Oh, the walking stick got me, that's it.
How kind, I just assumed it was yours.
No, it's for you.
Oh, how very, very nice. I'm grateful.
Enjoy.
Oh, okay. There we go.
That looks like one of those rings.
All right, everybody stay there.
Stay there.
We have the stick in the scene.
Yes. That is so nice. It's been very nice.
And carved.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Very nice. Excellent.
Thank you so very much. Now, our friends have a meeting with our folks in the planning office, so Mr. Chairman, if you'll excuse them.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It was nice meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Very well.
Okay.
Thank you both for your time.
Well deserved.
This one. Thank you.
Debbie's attention, they're going out the other door.
Oh, she was fine. You
Go
can
that
go
way.
up, you can go up that way and then catch, I think Debbie wants to see you.
She's
I
moving.
think she-
Oh, there you go.
Thank you. Very nice.
All right, any, again, public comments? So if you're watching via live stream and you wish to submit a public comment for the board, you can do so at mboyd@lawrencecountypa.gov. It's mboyd@lawrencecountypa.gov. Fiscal and contractual, no advertising bids or proposals, no receipt of bids or proposals, no fiscal reports, no report on quotes. We do have a warrant register from April 29th, 2021 for our consideration. Give my colleagues a minute to check that over and take a motion to accept and file the warrant register. This one looks like a pretty short one.
It is. I've looked at it and I will make that motion. Mhm.
I'll second if you'll, and will you allow me to make a comment, please? Sure. Thank you. I noticed one of the disbursements is to Lark Enterprises, which of course is headquartered here in Lawrence County. And I have the privilege of serving on their board of directors. The board is not compensated, by the way. It's a volunteer board. I always want to make that clear. At our last board meeting, a number of the executive staff from Lark were very complimentary towards Scott Baldwin and Denise Zona in particular at MHDS as it relates to funding matters, particularly during the height of COVID.
Mhm.
And they did ask me to forward that on to Mr. Baldwin and to Mrs. Zona, which I have since done. But I thought we should acknowledge them as well. The Lark folks were very complimentary towards the assistance and the working relationship that they've enjoyed. And that goes back to when Joe was director as well.
Very works a tremendous agency for us to use. We appreciate it, well, always appreciated from an MHDS perspective of the services they provided and the work that they do.
But they couldn't have said more than, I mean, a lot of good things about our MHDS staff. I just wanted you folks to know that. Thank you, Mr.
Sure.
Chairman. Good to hear, absolutely. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Up next, approval of minutes from Tuesday, April 27, 2021 meeting. Again, I'll give my colleagues a second, check those over, take a motion to approve or edit.
And I will make that motion.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have no presentation of written communications today. No proclamations and certificates. Actually, we'll likely be changing the policy relating to proclamations and certificates sometime soon, so that's just something to bear in mind. Reports, staff reports. Is there any member of staff here that has anything to report above and beyond what's already on the agenda? That's shocking.
Say it's a no.
Commissioner reports and comments. Loretta, you're on deck first today.
I'm on deck first. I guess the only thing that I would say is congratulations to Dan. I know that you are an avid walker, hiker, trail taker. I learned that when we were doing the bridge tour, that you had pointed out to me several different trails that you had been on and taken, and different stops. So hopefully I say, you bring so much as the veteran of the three of us, so much knowledge that anytime there's anything that like this that goes on or happens, and there's not even so much that there's an award, but you're just a plethora of information about all good things of Lawrence County. So I appreciate the fact that we work with you, that we are here with you, and thanks to Steve and Bob as well, for their dedication to the trail, and again, congratulations to you, and hopefully I'll get myself out on those trails. Okay. And get myself a walking stick.
I'll echo those comments. I probably won't get out to the actual trails, but I'll be supportive of the endeavors.
It is what it is right there.
I'm just not gonna share. I'm probably not gonna go hiking anytime soon, but I definitely see the value in the organization and the trail itself. I also want to note that ran the numbers a little bit before coming down to the commissioners meeting. Right now, the county stands of eligible recipients of the COVID-19 vaccine. 51% of individuals in the county have received at least a partial vaccination. When I say eligible recipients, that means individuals over the age of 18, because vaccines still have not been cleared for children. With that being said, I think in the next couple of weeks, we should probably take a hard look at potentially removing the ending the declaration of emergency with the high level of vaccinations currently taking place in Lawrence County. I think we need to take a hard look at the data, the number of cases that are still occurring in Lawrence County, the death rate currently in Lawrence County, and check and see if all indicators are positive, and if they are, at that point, I think we should give strong consideration to ending the disaster declaration. But I did want to note that. And Dan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's an interesting statistic. I appreciate your sharing it, and thank you both for your kind remarks. Very much appreciated. I have two matters. One is quite serious. The other one is a little less serious. The three of us have been talking about what appears to be a growing number of accidents along US Route 422, particularly in the townships of Slippery Rock and Shenango. And yesterday, the three of us agreed that we needed to, even though we don't own any highways or roads or maintain them, but in the interest of public safety, we felt we needed to reach out to PennDOT. So consequently, this morning, I placed a call on behalf of the other two commissioners, to Cheryl Moon Sirianni, who is the PennDOT district executive. Her territory covers our county, Allegheny County, and Beaver County. And we discussed this issue, specifically the intersection of State Route 388 and 422, which is right at the Slippery Rock Shenango Township line. But from that point all the way out to the Butler County line, there just seems to have been an increase in the number of accidents along that stretch. She indicated that she would reach out to one of her higher ranking safety engineers to investigate this and see if there is a potential for implementation of additional safety enhancements along that stretch. But she was very accommodating and sounded very willing to cooperate with us. But I just wanted to enter that into the record and emphasize the fact this is something all three of us feel very strongly about. The second matter, and I'll apologize because I took a lot of time already, but I can't let this go. So please bear with me, but I think you'll find it interesting. And this is a little less serious. I came across a fascinating article from the Newcastle News from 1939. And as Debbie and I joke, Debbie will say, well, I didn't write it. She didn't write it, right? But I'm going to read it. It's not going to take long, but I think you'll find it very intriguing. The headline is, former Newcastle man provides smoke color effects for movie scenes. Years ago, and keep in mind, this is from 1939. Years ago, Anthony D. Paglia, an ambitious Newcastle youth, went west, Los Angeles to be exact. Today, at the age of 33, married and the father of a son, Donald has returned, Donald is the name of the son, excuse me. Anthony Paglia has returned to his former hometown for a visit. His case deserves that well-known tag, local young man makes good. Paglia has crashed the movies, not the acting end of the industry, but the color effects department. And this is where it gets very interesting. In the picture, The Wizard of Oz, Paglia supplied the special colored smoke effects used in 6 scenes.
That's really cool.
The former local resident credits his break to a newspaper ad. Throughout his childhood, Paglia studied pyrotechnics. He learned the rudiments of the fireworks business through his father. By the way, Debbie, I have a copy of this for you.
Okay, good, thank you.
He learned the rudiments of the fireworks business through his father. As a hobby, Paglia has been experimenting for some years. About a year ago, Paglia originated a powder which produces a colored smoke effect when lighted. The studios were experiencing difficulty in securing a clear and more distinct smoke for The Wizard of Oz. A $1 advertisement attracted the attention of one of the studio officials who immediately visited Paglia and inquired about his experiment. Paglia's powder was tested and it clicked. The result was that Paglia was employed to provide the special smoke effect powder of various colors for the remainder of the picture. He spent 6 months on the set. Paglia's powder produced a faster and clearer smoke of various colors. Since the picture was produced in Technicolor, the smoke effect had to be as perfect as possible. In Technicolor pictures requiring special smoke effects, Paglia will likely supply that end towards completing future movies. Paglia is employed as a telegrapher on a railroad. During his spare time, he experiments in a small laboratory in the rear of his home. Mr. and Mrs. Paglia and their son Donald are visiting with Mr. and Mrs. Rocco Vigiano of 107 Lawrence Street. I just thought that was incredible. That somebody from Newcastle, Lawrence County, played a role in the production of The Wizard of Oz, and I had to read it. So
Absolutely.
thank you for allowing me to do that.
Absolutely.
And again, I have a copy for you.
Is he still alive?
I doubt it because he was 33 in 1939.
Well, yeah.
So he would have been born in 1906.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
What about his son?
Well, that I don't know now. There are Paglias in
Yes.
the Newcastle area. So maybe some of his relatives still live here.
Yes.
But anyway, thank you for letting me share that. I
Interesting.
thought it was fascinating.
Interesting.
Thank you again.
Sure, absolutely.
But moving on to the new resolution section of the agenda. We have up first, resolution 2021
090.
09, wow, we're at 90. This relates, it's a resolution for discussion of possible approval to apply to the Department of Health under their WalkWorks program to develop a countywide active transportation, I hate the word, but plan. What this effectively is after consultation with Scott Bricker, Bike Pittsburgh, Amy McKinney, a number of individuals at the SPC, and a couple other people employed in various departments in state government, as well as Janet Filatico with Lawrence County Tourism.
Right.
The county's interested in pursuing, it's called an active transportation plan, but what it really is it's a bike plan.
Right.
It's looking specifically at how we can deploy bike infrastructure around the county to augment existing trails, create new bike paths, and otherwise promote biking and other means of active transportation in Lawrence County. You might find interesting that the grant itself is under the Department of Health, and the rationale for that is that biking, walking, and other means of active transportation promote the health and well-being of individuals in Lawrence County. Bike infrastructure itself is noted in our greenways plan, but it's not really fleshed out as to how it should be implemented. It's just noted as something that we should pursue. And so the creation of a bike plan through WalkWorks dollars will allow us to more effectively structure bike infrastructure in Lawrence County. So this is sort of the first step in exploring that type of infrastructure. I will note that if we're able to get this grant, this $20,000, the Tourist Promotion Agency through Janet Filatico has graciously offered $10,000 to be utilized towards the development of this plan. And when you combine that $30,000 with work that's already been done through SPC and through county planning, we believe that should be enough to get the full bike plan completed.
Great.
And so to that end, I'm certainly supportive of this endeavor. I have a feeling based on the walking stick standing up behind Dan that Dan will be supportive of this endeavor, and I also assume the same. Well, no walking stick.
No walking stick, but
Loretta's also
future goal.
also supportive. But that being said, I'll turn it over to my colleagues for any comments that they might have.
Just very briefly, I definitely, full support of that something we need to pursue and to do it. And again, it's a different mode of transportation. Some people hike, some people bike, some people drive. It's definitely something to move forward on. Yes, without a doubt. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I'll add to that. First of all, I know you've been working hard on this.
Yes.
I got some credit today, but now it's your turn to get some credit. You've been working very hard on this, and it demonstrates the leadership roles that both of my colleagues have taken. Commissioner Spielvogel sits on the Tourist Promotion Agency Board of Directors, works very closely with Janet Filatico. And technically, all three of us sit on the SPC board, but truth be told, my two colleagues focus much more of their time and energy on the SPC board. One reason I don't quite as much is because I'm on the Northwest Planning Board, but Mr. Commissioner Boyd is on the executive committee of SPC, and he mentioned that agency as he was explaining this. So I credit both of you for those respective leadership roles, and yeah, I think this is tremendous. But again, appreciate a couple of times not that I nose in on what you do, but I've overheard you on the phone talking to someone about this. So thank you. I'd be very supportive.
And also clarify the lead goes to Morgan for that. Just being so proactive with doing it, and I know that the time you have devoted to do that. Yes,
and also,
absolutely.
The only thing I've really done is I've gotten a couple people together in a room. But Amy's writing the grant at the end of the day. And the funding is coming from, if not from here, it's coming from Janet Filatico and Eden Blinn.
Yes.
When I asked her if she was able, if there's anything that tourism can do to help get the money to start this. So, like I said, the only thing I really did was get a couple people in the room. And now
you did more than that.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, any objections to 2021-90?
No, sir.
Up next, and it's Resolution 2021-91. Liquid fuels. Wayne Township, if you remember, I had a meeting or two ago.
Yes.
Might have been I think it was 2 meetings ago. They came in under budget on a project that they were conducting on a bridge in Wayne Township. Help me out with the name of the bridge.
Squaw Run Road.
Squaw Run Road Bridge. They came in $8,961.95 under the original budgeted cost, county contribution budgeted cost for that bridge. They had initially reappropriated those funds for usage on a Jockey Moore Road project. However, they were able to get that project done for free. So kudos to the
Right, absolutely.
Wayne Township supervisors. They now wish to use that funding for a project on Snake Run Road. And so to that end, like I said, they were able to save some cost in their original bridge project. I certainly don't have an issue with reallocating those dollars. Well, first for Jockey Moore and now for Snake Run. But with that being said, I'll turn it over to my colleagues for any comments they might have on this.
None. I'm good.
I shouldn't speculate, but I will, and I'm going to emphasize this is pure speculation about Jockey Moore Road. I do know that currently there are sand and gravel operations being undertaken near that road, and consequently there are trucks coming in and out on it. I'm just guessing that perhaps that company had taken out a bond on that road and are utilizing those dollars to make the repairs on Jockey Moore. I could be wrong. It may be an entirely different matter, but that's my hunch as to why they don't need it for Jockey Moore Road. But if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit it. But I would support their request.
Sounds good. Make that 2021-90. That does make sense.
Did you say 91, Mr.
91.
Chairman? 91.
Right, so 90, I misspoke. 92. This is sort of a formal thing. When power went down yesterday, and the staff was sent home for the day because our phones and computers were inoperable. Yesterday happened to be the last day for the discount period for taxes. We certainly don't want to penalize any resident that wasn't able to get in to the building, pay their taxes on that day. And so to that end, what this resolution in effect does, the technical side of things, the legal side of things, it's a little bit more complicated. But in effect, what this does is it extends the discount period through 4 o'clock on Wednesday. Questions, comments on that?
No.
I have just a quick question and a quick comment. I'm assuming the treasurer is aware of this. Is that correct? Okay, and he would be in accordance with what we're proposing to do, to your knowledge.
Yes.
Okay. I do want to very quickly make note of the fact that the power outage did cause a great deal of inconvenience, which led to the closing of the building. The election office remained open as best they could, given the circumstance. Of course, the power did come back on around 11. However, our election director, Mr. Allison, advised me this morning that notwithstanding the power outage, they were doing training next door for the poll workers, and they were able to accomplish that. But this morning, he was very complimentary of Sheriff Qualero and his staff because they stayed. And if someone came to the door with yesterday being the last day to register to vote and change party, I believe that was the deadline yesterday. So there were a few folks that showed up for that purpose. And the sheriff's staff did open the door and bring those folks down here so it didn't interfere with the operations of the election office. So I do want to, and I'm sure you folks would agree, I want to thank the sheriff for his cooperation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely, thank you. Make that 92, unless there's anything further. Transfers. A couple of things here out of Rick Russo's office. Transfer from the $150 from the contingency to subscriptions. Again, I need to have a serious conversation with the courts about how much their subscriptions cost, but we'll save that for another day. Subscriptions received before we would cancel if returned would not get credit. Also, 2 items that have been turned over for collection. I don't know what that means. But it's contingency and it is, what it is. Up next, Controller's Office. This is out of our Records Improvement Fund, which is a fund separate from the general fund. Time clocks for executive time training for Munis workflow approved by Records Improvement Committee. This is another funding stream that we actually need to get a tighter grip on. The law actually states that the Records Improvement Committee doesn't approve requests, they approve a Records Improvement Plan, and then the Records Improvement Plan is implemented at the discretion of the Board of Commissioners. But that being said, what happened, we had a couple of time clocks break, and so to that end, we need to get them replaced in order to continue to maintain our reporting systems. This is the first time I'm seeing this. Summer part-time employee for the Controller's Office out of the, I know what this is. And I'll go into more depth because it's a personnel issue, potentially either after the meeting. But this is warranted. From Controller contingency, $2,700 to Controller part-time staff for a summer part-time employee. And like I said, I'll if you want to go to executive session now, we can do that, but there is justification for that.
I don't need to go into executive session. But do we need to make it clear, and maybe this does that, this is not a summer intern, because the courts have said there will not be any paid summer intern. So this, I want to make certain this is not a summer intern.
Yes, this would be a part-time employee.
Thank you. And if you have a comfort level with this, I have an assumption and as to what it is, but if you've got a comfort level, I'm okay.
Okay, thank you. You're good?
Yes.
All right. Jail, they're advertising for part-time officers. They're really pumping up the advertising on that. Very necessary to get more people into that position to try to alleviate some of our overtime stress.
Right.
But they're moving $500 from their contingency to advertise to help pay for such advertisements.
Do we know if they have utilized the career link for their advertising?
Yes.
They have?
They
Okay.
have,
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you.
It's just another avenue to, get some part-timers in to have a class to ensure the reduction of the overtime.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And this contingency account to part-time salary for the Thonitary's office, they're short on funds there. Yeah, that was done on purpose in the budget to try to remove some of that part-time cost out of the Thonitary's office. Was agreed upon at the time, but I guess now it's not working out. But they do have money in their contingency account for that part-time salary. Questions on any of those?
Am I simply, though, just want to make a certain, you've had a conversation with Monetary about this?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll take a motion to approve administrative transfers A through F.
So moved.
Second.
We have motion second. Is there any further discussion? If none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. I'll take a motion to amend the agenda to allow for voting on resolutions 2021-90 through 2021-92.
So moved.
Second.
The motion second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Resolution 2021-90. Now that be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, Lawrence County Department of Planning and Community Development has the authority to apply to the Department of Health under the Walkworks program to develop a countywide active transportation plan. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2021-91. Now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners to allow Wayne Township to utilize $8,961.95 in liquid fuel fund dollars towards a new project on Snake Run Road. Again, that is using savings from another project that we allocated dollars and reapplying those savings towards another road paving project. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. The motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2021-92, now that to be resolved by Lawrence County Commissioners, property tax, get rid of the word penalty in that. Sorry, we wrote this up this morning. Property tax face period rate shall be set at a 2% discount until 4 p.m. on May 5, 2021. After 4 p.m. on May 5, 2021, the face period rate shall be set at 0% until the beginning of the penalty period. That's the sort of the legal jump that we have to do to achieve the effective result of extending the discount period. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second, with a quick comment. The timing worked out well as far as us having a regular meeting today. Because
Yes.
if this had happened later in the week, we probably would have had to have called a special meeting in order to do this, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
So it worked out well from a time
Very good.
standpoint. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. We have motion and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. No ordinances on the table for introduction or final action. Announcements, regularly scheduled Commissioners meeting 10 a.m. Tuesday, May 11th in this room. There is an opening for a board seat on Lawrence County Redevelopment Authority, which coincidentally also now has authority over the county land bank. The second announcement, any applicants can apply by sending a letter of application to the Board of Commissioners at the courthouse. They can also send any individual commissioner an email or come here and simply state their request at a public meeting to be considered for an application to the board. Applicants must undergo a background check for any position on any county authority. And
If I may?
yes,
And I had to leave last week's meeting early, but did we enter into the record the letter of resignation from Mr. Felino, who did send us a letter resigning from the
no.
board? I'm wondering, I know we have a letter.
We do.
Could we perhaps next week, just for formality purposes, make that part of the record? Absolutely. Thank you. And we should offer our appreciation to Mr. Felino, who is from Union Township. His work obligations, being a funeral director, you never know one day from the next how busy you're going to be.
Right.
And that has created an issue which has caused him to have to miss a number of meetings through no fault of his own, obviously, but he did submit a letter to us. So thank you both.
Absolutely, thank you. Public comments? Seeing none. Deb, any questions? After me? Anybody wishing to submit public comments that might be watching, again, mboyd@lawrencecountypa.gov, mboyd@lawrencecountypa.gov. Please include public comment in the section like an airplane stewardess.
Right.
Please include public comment in the title line, and they'll be entered into the record as such. Anything additional from either one of my colleagues?
Yes, your seat can be used as a flotation
There
device.
you go.
Please demonstrate the oxygen.
Yes, there you go.
If we had a tank, I might do it. But Joe, anything from the Abbott side?
No, sir.
All right,
Okay.
we'll wrap it up. We'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Lawrence County Board of Commissioners is adjourned.
Very good.
So is that Vince fully